Hi, so yeah, I saw the Captain Marvel movie, and first question you have to ask, with all the hype that's going on with the movie, is it a feminist social justice warrior type of movie? And the answer is a resounding yes, it is. It really is against the patriarchy. It certainly is against the white men. So what Brie Larson's been spewing in her interviews is pretty much in the movie. I mean, yeah, but like she had a heavy hand in it, and really, the movie just is resonated in her interview. That's the way the movie really is. Now, in the movie, men are chauvinist. In the movie, men are completely inhibiting women from advancing. And when Brie Larson's gets free from Jan Rog, she just all of a sudden just soars. I mean, she just reaches absolutely no heights for no other good reason. I think just that other that she was inhibited by all these men in her life, or the male figures in her life. Anyway, the other thing about, I mean, there's the plot with the scroll and how they're kind of depicted almost like immigrants or refugees or something like that. And one of the things about feminists is that when they pick a side, or like for example, when they present that this side is the good side, all of a sudden they can do no wrong. All of a sudden, the scroll were these sweet, innocent, really loving people, and no bad characters in the whole scroll universe, really. Now, I mean, all of a sudden they're so accepted, and all the transgressions they did in the past and everything else is just completely forgiven. And you know, it's kind of hard to accept these kind of things. Be it all, I mean, there's a lot of feminists in movies these days, so I mean, get used to it, I guess, is what we're gonna have to do. It doesn't stop people from going, but it, you know, shouldn't stop people. I mean, the movie should make it on its own. But in this particular case, I don't think this movie was particularly strong. Couple problems. Let's go over the characters first. First of all, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury is his usual bang up job. He had good, sarcastic wit. He had some good dialogue with Brie Larson, and it went fairly well. But at the same time, his character, I mean, if this is the beginning, I mean, obviously this is the first of Nick Fury, but his character wasn't really a strong character. I mean, it was witty and all that, but he basically didn't do anything special in the movie. He really just kind of like more the sidekick, which was, I guess it goes with the politics of the movie, I suppose. Jude Law was decent. I mean, especially in the beginning and towards the end, he was decent, but it wasn't spectacular, especially for Jude Law. I think he could have done a lot better. Brie Larson herself, not as bad as I thought she might be, but pretty kind of mailed it in. Wasn't really too emotionally involved in the movie. Like there wasn't a lot of diversity in her emotions or anything like that. It was basically the same throughout. And I don't see why it wasn't, even when she got the reunion with Rambo. It wasn't really that emotional. I mean, it was very blasé. So not as bad as I thought it would be, but not particularly great. And the rest of the cast were okay. I don't like kids in movies. I'm sorry. It seems like a cheap laugh or a cheap, thing to put kids in movies all the time. I just don't like it. It's overdone, first of all. And it didn't need the child in the movie. I guess there was a good laugh with that, but it wasn't really necessary. I don't think it should be automatic that kids are in movies all the time. The rest of the movie, what can I tell you? I mean, I to tell you the truth, I kind of liked it. It is very light fare. This is a very light movie. It's kind of in the league of Ant-Man. It probably even lighter than Ant-Man. And not a lot of plot development, not a lot of thinking, but it kind of there was some dull periods in the middle. You know, when she met up with Rambo again, that was kind of a very slow moving part. But you know, overall, it was a light movie. It didn't overly offend, like on the stupid meter, but it wasn't particularly good on anything. It certainly wasn't spectacular in anything. Even when Brie Larson got her powers, her ultimate powers, it didn't really, you know, she just kind of just lit up a bit, and but all of a sudden she was, you know, the strongest thing in the universe, and it wasn't a great display. I mean, it certainly wasn't, you know, something that would bring in audiences or anything like that. It wasn't something memorable. So like the whole movie's kind of like that. It doesn't stay in your mind. It you know, just kind of moves along, but you know, very lightly, and no really plot development. There's no real reason for a sequel for this movie. First of all, I don't think it's going to do well. When I went to see the movie, it was 4 in the afternoon, and it's not a very large theater that I went to, but I would say it's probably just 20% full, and that was it. And when we left, you know, there wasn't much of a lineup, or hardly any lineup at all for the following showing. So I don't see this doing very well in the theaters, and I think Hollywood has really got a problem if they keep pushing these movies like this. You do not need to make a strong female statement by being a feminist. You can do a strong movie and just let the movie, like you know, movie sell female character and all that. Because just like Wonder Woman, it was a great movie and she did very well. Gal Gadot, and she was fantastic in that movie, and it was a very good movie overall. One of my favorites. Is probably my second favorite hero movie. This I would have to give it as one of the least favorite movies. But I mean, like I said, I'm going to a movie because I want to go see the movie. I want to enjoy the movie. Like I haven't gone to very many movies lately, so I was kind of looking forward to going to a movie, and this was the perfect excuse. But quite frankly, I'm hoping there's not going to be a sequel, because this is, I mean, introducing Captain Marvel the way they did and the timeline and everything like that, it kind of screws everything up, doesn't it? I mean, the Tesseract, which came out of the engine, which kind of weird, because isn't the Tesseract one of the Infinity Stones? So I don't know, how did it actually come out of the engine? And this is what actually gave her her power, and I didn't know that Tesseract gave that kind of power. I thought it was a space travel type of thing. So how in the world does she get all that power from the Tesseract? I'm not 100% sure. And then the Tesseract, was it just the fact that she broke her chains from Von Rogg, right? The Jude Law's character. So, you know, is that it? I mean, it's kind of confusing, because, you know, like, where does she actually get her power? I mean, all of a sudden the powers were there. All of a sudden she was the most powerful thing in the universe, and you kind of wondering how exactly, but they don't explain very much in this movie. There's not much subplot, but they also didn't get any questions answered. Or there's really, I mean, it's just, the movie should be a one-off, and that's it. And just in it there. Now we know, obviously, that she's going to be in the end games. I mean, I hope her role isn't too huge in the end games because, quite frankly, it's kind of like just going to ruin the whole. I mean, she wasn't in it at the beginning, and all of a sudden she's thrusted in it. I mean, I know Ant-Man, but Ant-Man already had a movie before the end games was coming out. So, I mean, she kind of came about after the Infinity War. So, I think her introduction does more problems in the end games than the fourth Avenger movie than it is benefited from. It just seems like it's going to confuse the whole issue and the whole storyline. And I hope the Russo brothers, I thought, did an amazing job. So I hope they recover and they fix that. But I kind of think that it would have been way better if this movie was done after or released after and just be a one-off and have nothing to do with the end games. Anyway, that's my take. Like I said, I don't think this is even going to make back its money. It's going to be probably the first Marvel movie that flops. Like I said, the attendance was not very good, and it didn't seem like everybody was that interested. So, I'd like to see what's going to happen in the next few months before the end games come out. Anyway, that's my take. Like I said, if it was just a one-off, it would have been all right. But being part of the Marvel universe, it's kind of like, oh boy, this creates a lot of problems. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.